Welcome to What's Wrong with Wolfie.
Greetings and welcome to the Season 2 premiere of What's Wrong with Wolfie, a podcast dedicated to pop culture of the 80s, 90s and noughts. My name is Rich.
I'm Chris.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Jason.
And this time we're talking about Top Secret.
Looking for a video that will make you laugh out loud? Then catch Val Kilmer in his undercover comedy where East meets West.
Wie viel waren denn mal guten Wortenliste? What the hell did you say to him? Nothing. I just told him I'd put his name on the Montgomery Ward mailing list.
Hillary.
That's an unusual name.
It's a German name. It means she whose bosoms defy gravity.
It seems that you have become, how do you say, indispensable?
Indispensable. I'm not the first guy who fell in love with a girl he met in a restaurant who then turned out to be the daughter of a kidnapped scientist, only the loser to a childhood lover who she'd last seen on a deserted island and who turned out 15 years later to be the leader of the French underground.
I know it. It all sounds like some bad movie.
When the creators of Airplane and The Naked Gun set out to make a spy spoof, the laughs fall hard on the East German High Command in Top Secret.
I'm laughing, sorry. Just like, I had to keep my laughter down. But yeah, anyway, so we know this film is nearly 4 decades old, but it's only right that we warn listeners that there are some spoilers ahead. So just want you to know there are spoilers ahead, otherwise our lives are going to be worth less than a truckload of dead rats in a tampon factory.
You get those quote warnings in these days, don't you?
A quote of the film, that one.
I had to get in. Coming from Michael Goth as well. I mean, like, come on. Alfred. But anyway, what is Top Secret about? Popular and dashing American rock roll star Nick Rivers, played by Val Kilmer in his very first role, travels to East Germany to perform as part of a Goodwill music festival. A festival that, unbeknownst to him, is really just acting as a smokescreen for a secret ploy to reunify Germany under government rule. When Nick loses his heart to the beautiful Hilary Flamond, he finds himself caught up in an underground resistance movement. Nick joins forces with Hilary and Agent Cedric, played by Omar Sharif of all people, part Omar Sharif, part Car, to rescue Hilary's father from the East German High Command, who have captured the scientist and are forcing him to build a new naval superweapon called the Polaris Mine. So yeah, I'm going to cut straight to the. I'm just going to cut straight to the chase. Your guys' thoughts on this classic movie?
You described the plot just now, and you did a great job. And I was like, "Oh yeah, that was the plot. You're right."
I don't know. I think it was. I've had lots of different plots go around my head, but I think that was the gist of it.
I think you nailed it.
Yeah. So, Steve, I'm going to ask you first what your initial thoughts, because I believe you were one of the later people, if not the last person, to see this.
I'm not sure where you got that idea from. I saw this film quite a long time ago.
Really?
Yeah.
It was me who only saw it 2 days ago for the first time.
So there you go. It had been a while since I'd last seen it. I remember thinking that it was one of the weirder Zucker films. Seeing it, I watched it yesterday with my girlfriend. She absolutely loved it. I was a little bit worried because we watched Airplane and she appreciated Airplane but thought that it was way weirder than she was expecting. But she absolutely loved this.
And backwards.
I now think that I think it's about right. I think it might be my favorite one. I think it's fucking great. I absolutely loved it.
I'm just shocked that was her assessment, because I know like the Zuckers have actually said themselves that they consider Airplane to be more the movie and Top Secret to be basically a sketch show almost.
Well, Airplane has a plot.
Yeah.
Whereas Top Secret has a plot, like, you can describe the plot as you just did, but that doesn't matter at all. Like, who cares? Like, you forget what the point of that film is while
Or what decade
watching
it's
it.
in, because
But I think it's got, well, I mean, quite exactly. It's got better jokes. It's got better set pieces. I think Val Kilmer is phenomenal in this film, and I only just found out that this was his first film role as well, which I love.
Amazing.
He does all the singing, he does all the dancing. He is an incredible comedic performer. It's just great. It's Peter Cushing's last film as well, which is also incredible. So I love this film. Doesn't give a fuck about time. Like, when is this film set? Tell me when this film is set. You can't.
Sometime in the 20th century.
I'm still working that
like,
out now. Yeah.
It's an Elvis film, but it's East Germany, but the soldiers are kind of like Nazis in World War II.
They are Nazis.
Yeah. And there's something else I'm thinking as well, but yeah, it's just...
What, modern cars, modern taxis?
There's a Pinto in it. We're going to...
Yeah,
have
for
a
Pinto. That was a laughing point when I've...
Yeah, it's just... Yeah, it's an absolute mess of
Phenomenal.
a film. It's a beautiful mess.
It is a phenomenal mess, yeah.
Chris, I'm going to make you wait. So, Jason, thoughts? You are the last person to have seen this,
am.
basically, for this podcast.
So
far
yeah,
away.
to be honest, like I didn't kind of know this film existed until you guys mentioned it like a few months ago. So, and as soon as you mentioned it, you two just went off on one. In a good way on just how great it was and everything. And so for all these months, the anticipation has been kind of building ever since we decided that this was the film that we were going to kickstart the new format and the new Wolfie pod with. So finally sitting down to watch the film, I was kind of slightly apprehensive because, where people can build up a film so much and then you've got high expectations of that film and then you watch it and you go, well, I don't know what that person was talking about because that was a bit of shit. But suffice to say that when I finished watching Top Secret, big smile on my face because I'd just been laughing too much at just the gag after gag after gag after gag that they were just throwing at me. And some of the stuff that they were throwing at me as well, I was just kind of just sitting there, just kind of like, I can't believe that I've just watched Val Kilmer sing a song in a restaurant about a rug.
It wasn't Val Kilmer, that was Mel Torme. So.
Sorry, my mistake.
Maybe he's not Mel Torme.
How do we know he's not? God, Nigel, man.
Do you know what? Every time I saw that guy and he spoke his French accent, I just kept thinking of Frenchie from The Boys.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, it was really good. And I was quite glad that they took the parody in the way that they took it. It was a general kind of parody. They weren't taking them... Well, from my perspective, I didn't pick up on too many other kind of like movie references from that other genres that they were trying to spoof and parody from. I think there was a few, but
just a few genres, just
yeah, just a few genres, yeah,
just a handful. We'll just throw it there. It's fine.
Yeah, there were a few gags in there that I just laughed out loud, and I watched some of this at work during my lunch break, and I had my manager come to the door and go, "What are you watching?" Because all I can hear is you laughing through the wall. So it definitely hit the spot. Yeah, great.
Amazing.
It's fantastic, and I'm so pleased that I've had the chance to find that this film exists and actually watch it. It's brilliant.
Yeah, no, that's a perfect assessment. It's really nice to hear someone that's actually watched it for the first time, because honestly, I remember my first time watching it with Chris, and like, for me, it goes all the way back to when I was a kid, and it's one of those films my dad would just have on a blank VHS, and I just fell in love with it as a kid growing up. So, yeah, it's nice in the year of 2023. Yeah. It's like, introduce it to someone else. It's really a really good feeling. It's so goddamn good. Go on, Chris. We're going to let you out your cage, right? So,
well,
what you got to say?
It's quite funny, because like you guys, I knew of its existence, but I'd never actually seen it until Rich bought the DVD one day, thinking HMV in Canterbury.
You remember the specifics, seriously?
I'm sure it was HMV or Virgin Megastore.
How much was it, Chris? How much did I pay?
I don't know.
Was it in the sale?
But I remember vividly going, when I started watching it, I thought, there's something familiar about this. This is a deja vu joke, but I must have caught some of it as a kid growing up. You know, in these random films on a Sunday afternoon or evening. But I'd never watched it fully all the way through. So, where do I begin? It's just mad. absolutely mad, off the scale insanity, but it's all done in just such a nice, tasteful way, and it's so self-aware of itself. It's just brilliant, and I've watched it so many times over the past 20 odd years, and it gets better every time. Every time I watch it, I pick up on some new joke or some new gag or visual gag that I've never picked up on before. And I watched it a couple of days ago, and I was just blown away by the whole experience again. It's a film that keeps on giving. Like, I find with Hot Shots, they were great movies, but sometimes you watch them so much it doesn't become funny. But this film just is so rewarding. Again, like Airplane is so rewarding. The more you watch it and the older you get, the funnier it seems to get. But the amount of genre bending, and like we mentioned at the top of the show about where does it take place? Sometime in the mid-20th century. It's like up-to-date newspapers. There's a joke about Olivia Newton-John being stalked.
There's a pizza restaurant in
There's
Germany.
A pizza restaurant in Germany called Der Pizza House. And I won't mention the club at the beginning of the film because that's dated a bit poorly. But we'll know.
Something has to.
Yeah, I was just amazed at how well it holds up. And when Rich told me when it's Val Kilmer, and I was like, Val Kilmer. So at that point, we'd only known Val Kilmer as like a serious drama actor or the occasional Batman movie, you know. But to see him do comedy, and he's exceptionally gifted at it physically and delivery-wise, it's a shame that he didn't do any more.
Yeah.
But this film is just full to the brim of just... It's like... Sometimes it's like you're tripping balls. It's just like, what? How do we get from here to here in less than 5 seconds? But just the underwater bar fight, just with the cowboys.
The underwater bar fight is like a work of art. It is incredible.
Every time I watch it, I'm like, how did they pull that off? That must have been the most expensive shot of the entire movie, apart from Nigel's wig and oil.
True story as well. Val Kilmer actually earned a diving certificate from shooting that scene. Yeah. So hey, it paid off in so many ways.
I mean, when I think about that, see, the thing that I love about this film is how not seriously it takes itself, how seriously it takes not being at all serious. Yeah. The underwater bar fight scene in particular, just think about the amount of safety regulations, think about the amount of admin, think about the number of people that had to be involved in pulling that off, and it was pulling off something that ultimately just doesn't matter and is the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
But what's mad is you never think of it fourth dimensionally, do you? Like you just pointed out, like if I remember rightly, for any underwater scene you need 2 safety divers per performer, right? So I'm guessing the cowboys and the girl in the bar were obviously licensed divers, experienced. But then you also have to think that they've got to be stunt performers at the same time to be able to do this convincingly. So you've got, in the water alone, if you've got 2 safety... It's like, what the hell? And you're just watching it, it's only like a 4-minute scene, and like, that's the execution alone of that scene. On paper, like, could rival any underwater scene done in any film up to that point.
Like, that must have been really hard. Like, for Val Kilmer to do that. That must have been really hard, but he's like, yeah, okay, I'll pretend to be in a Wild West bar fight underwater.
In his first theatrical film.
Yeah.
His first theatrical, it's bonkers.
Suck at that, Tom Cruise. Seriously. Yeah. If it's your first role, you got to go out swinging and make an impression. So, Hollywood bigwigs will remember you as the guy that did the underwater saloon fight, so... Fair play to Val. It was an amazing scene. I absolutely love that. And I still remember watching it for the first time. Just seeing, just a fist fight underwater. I thought, okay. And then suddenly, wait a second. Is that a bar?
There's a bar.
Saloon doors? Is that a chandelier?
But it just escalates, doesn't it? The gun goes off and then the chandelier comes. The barman and what the hell?
Just so
and then the cowboys duck when the gun goes off. And then to top it off, there's a window that he gets thrown through, and then Val Kilmer just winks at the girl and walks through the saloon doors. It's like, what?
Cowboy hat. just like,
that's absolutely madness.
Oh shit.
If everybody had a 12 gauge and a surfboard too, See him shooting and surfing near the Malibu, because it's totally bitchin', riding waves to blast clay pigeons, and it's so neat shooting skeet while you're riding out the heavies all day.
I guess we probably will move on to the cast. Obviously, we got Val Kilmer as Nick Rivers, Lucy Gutteridge as Hilary Flamand, Omar Sharif as Agent Cedric and / Carr, and then Peter Cushing as the Swedish bookshop owner. So, for you guys, who's the standout in this film? Chris, I'm going to go with you first.
The standout, I
mean, it doesn't have to be those four. It could be someone else. It could be Chris Villiers as Nigel the Torch. So surprise us.
It's difficult to put a finer point on it. The fact that they've got 3 established actors who are like Hollywood royalty and have done so much hammer horror, and like in this random film, was it the second film by the Zuckers and Abrahams? Was Airplane first?
Yeah, Airplane was first.
That was 1980, wasn't it? Airplane.
Yes.
So
maybe,
79 for argument's sake. Yeah. I don't know. Just like that bookshop scene. I remember watching it and I'd never seen it before. And Rich was sat next to me and he was just giggling and I was just trying to work it out. And after about 5 seconds, I think I finally was like, "Well, wait, they filmed this in reverse." And then I was just like, "That is an achievement." Just to have the 3 actors doing that alone in reverse, including speech, walking convincingly backwards to then reverse it for them to be convincingly walking forwards. It's just an absolute feat of choreography and discipline.
And the inverted dog barks as well. The dog.
Yeah. But as for stand-up performers, it's got to go to Val Kilmer because he carries the whole film. He's just so charismatic and he's so in with it and he's in with the joke. The close second, like Rich just said, the actor who played Nigel. Oh my god.
Hello.
Just hams it up beautifully. And if anyone's seen The Blue Lagoon, you'll get all the jokes from that. From that, yeah, it's got to be Val Kilmer. Sorry, he just carries it beautifully.
And he does it in that way similar to like Leslie Nielsen. I don't think there's anyone in this film that is outright a clown, maybe, but he does it in that kind of Leslie Nielsen school of where he comes across kind of like the straight guy in the film. While everything else is absurd, but no, I don't really think there's anyone else that is really completely ludicrous. Maybe some members of the La Resistance that we'll get to later, but yeah, I feel like there's no one in it that is out and out hamming it up and being goofy. It is very much what I love about spoofs, is that it's everything around it is absurd, but the players aren't necessarily being ridiculous or comedic, but maybe I'm wrong. Jason, what do you think? What's your standout in the cast?
When you do put it all together, like with what Val Kilmer actually did, with the underwater fights and the singing and the dancing, and the comedic timing and everything in his first, like we keep saying, theatrical role, it's goddamn impressive. And like he carries the film as well, like Chris mentioned. So I mean, really, it is Val Kilmer, isn't it? That it has to be in some ways. But I guess I just want to have a little shout out to the actor who played the manager.
Oh yeah, with the his name slipped my mind now. I feel terrible, but
just I don't know. He just seemed to have this kind of like really like weird smile on his face the whole film, most of the film, and he played it really straight and everything, and just the whole. I think we might touch upon the scene later in the prison. Just that whole.
It's been 20 minutes, Jason.
just the whole scene he played, and the way he played that. It for some reason he just sticks in my brain more so than anybody else apart from Val.
Yeah.
Just for that scene alone. So yeah, big shout out to the guy who played that character.
Nice. A bit of an unsung hero. So yeah, it's always nice to hear. So definitely.
Exactly, yeah.
Steve.
I mean, it's Val Kilmer, right? I don't know. I've seen the film before, but still, this time I was really taken by how good he is in this film. Mm-hmm. Like he does a good he does a good acting job. I know that seems like a weird thing to say, but in a film that has zero reverence for itself, he turns up and does a damn good job of acting the shit out of it. Like he's a greaser 50s rocket. Well, he's Elvis, right?
I think.
And he does he's great. He's fantastic. Yeah. And at no point does it look like he's above this. Like it would be like, you can imagine a world in which Val Kilmer's like, this is my first role, I have to do this because this is a stepping stone onto, like, no, he takes it fully seriously, and it's great. Yeah, I don't know, there's not much more else to say that other people have not. I will say, I think my favourite scene, and maybe one of my favourite jokes ever in any film, is when he's being tortured by the Germans. I can't remember, there's the blind one, and there's the moron who believes everything he reads in New York Post.
Yeah.
And he goes unconscious and has a dream, and the dream sequence is him running through an empty school hall. He's like, where is everyone? Where are the exams being held? And this guy's just like, the exams are all over. Didn't you know? And he's like, oh no, I haven't studied. And then he regains consciousness while these Germans are beating the shit out of him, and he just goes, oh thank God. And it's an incredible joke, and yeah, it's brilliant.
I can't agree more. And that the whole sequence, that with the priest in the electric chair.
Oh God,
the pig Latin. It's Friday in the chair, eh? Ooh yes, ooh yes, ooh yeah. It's so facto, was it?
Ad nauseum.
Oh God.
I'd like to
pro bono. I
just wanted to little say about Michael Gough in here, and like how refreshing it is to see him in a different film than a Batman one.
Yeah, and together as well, him and Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
It was the Batman Forever before Batman Forever was ever made. So.
Yeah.
Is it about 15 years before Forever?
Oh yeah, definitely. Batman
Easily.
Forever was a 95.
95.
Yeah, so damn.
So yeah, no, it was really cool just to see him play something different. And
so good in that film.
And of course, we should mention, which you have before, Omar Sharif, and the way he played his spy character.
Another guy who turns up, who should be above this garbage, but he's not. He turns up and acts the shit out of it. Even when he's stuck in the car block, he's acting the shit out of this film.
I never saw that coming at all, and
It's just
I
when they're
really
laying
should have seen that coming.
When he's just laying in the hotel room, and it's just this like straight up scene of like passing a message on, and then you look at it and you're like, what the fuck is going on? And then she goes, oh no, right here, and then the window wipers go on. And then the horn. Oh, so proper.
She leans over to try and reach in the glove compartment, and her boobs go in his face, and the aerial starts to extend.
Yeah, it's just.
And this is Omar Sharif. That's in this scene, you know.
But that's the beauty of what these films are. They cast straight actors and then tell them just perform it straight, and it makes it funnier because it's just so absurd.
When he's not doing well as well, he's like weak, and she gives him engine oil.
Yeah.
Oh god. It's so good. Thank you.
The other scene that he was in that I really enjoyed was in the street where he's talking to his confidant or whoever, the blind guy, and he's got his briefcase, and then every time they think someone's overhearing them, that he does some kind of practical joke. And then these little practical jokes are quite funny, but then it's right at the end when they're finished, and then he picks up the dog poo.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes, I think you've forgotten your dog poo. And he said, that's not mine. And I was like, I just rolled. That's it.
That's phony dog poo.
Oh man, it's so fucking fantastic.
We can't forget the indestructible Omar Sharif though on the train fight.
Oh god, I mean he was very much
just like
the Nordberg of this film, I think.
Yeah.
You think about it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's just the German soldier on the top, and he sees the bridge. He's like, I was going to duck, and he's going to die, and the bridge disintegrates.
Yeah.
It's like,
the guy's still there.
within
his shoulders.
less than 2 minutes of the film on, you're like, this is going to be fucking awesome.
Yeah, and then from that scene, a guy parks his motorcycle and attaches it to a post as though it was a horse. And then a messenger takes his helmet off, and his chin strap stays on his head. And the guy's got a red rubber stamp that just says, find him and kill him.
Yeah.
Like, the opening of this film is so strong.
Yeah.
The train station as well.
The train station pulling away from the train.
And the guy running after the tree as well.
And then just when the train pulls away, and he's looking out the window, and you think, oh, they're doing the whole the miniature parallax thing, where objects are moving quicker further up, and it's a tree moving, and the guy's running after the tree to jump onto the land. It's like, the fuck?
There are so that joke particularly. There are a few jokes in this film that I do not think work. Like, I love them, but that joke does not work at all. It makes no sense.
But that's what makes it hilarious.
And it's still great. There's another scene later where someone jumps on a grenade to save his comrades.
Grenades!
Only he survives, and all of his friends spontaneously explode.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
We haven't got to our favourite moments yet, but Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh,
Sorry.
it's all right. It's fine. Oh, I've lost my train of thought now. Shit.
What about Lucy though? Like, do you think that she just played like straight? I don't know.
I was going to get to my favourite person. Obviously, yeah, I'm going to say Val, but I think definitely Lucy Gutteridge's Hillary is definitely my honourable mention because I think she's just fantastic. And she has that kind of energy about her that like Julie Haggerty did in Airplane. Not like ditzy, but she's kind of... I can't describe it. She's kind of playing it straight. She seems kind of clueless, but then I think everyone's clueless in this film. It's just so absurd. But, I mean, a whole introduction in the ballroom scene. I know little German. He's sitting over there.
Oh my God, I just died. I died when they pulled that gag at me, and I was like, you just don't expect that at all, because everyone says, "Oh, I know a little bit of French," or "I know, whatever language," and then they cut to a little German person, and it's like, "Oh my God!"
Still laid out just waving his cap at her. Just
exactly.
So good.
I believe watching the film, I don't know if he was credited. Was that Felix Silla?
I would not know.
He's a very short actor. He was more famous for Star Trek and The Addams Family. He played Cousin It.
Wow.
And I was watching it tonight, and I was like, I know that face from somewhere else, but the little German scene just kills me. And again in the restaurant, said we require a jacket and a tie, sir, for dining tonight. And he calls someone over. Can you supply this man with a jacket and a tie? And a classic Zucker and Abrahams. Watch the background, and he's just being tailored from scratch. It's a sewing machine. He's got fabric and everything.
Oh shit, man. But yeah, I think for me, other than Val, I'd definitely say Lucy Gutteridge. Her whole when she does the whole little exposition piece about when her and Nigel were stranded on the beach, and she talks about how they were building their holiday home and they made it from a bamboo, dried seaweed and snot. I was on the train the other day just pissing myself because I forgot about that line. It's so it's just juvenile at that point. Any time you use the word snot, I'm just like, wow, I'm 8 years old again, just giggling, cackling like a fool. I absolutely adore that. No, she's so good. She's a great energy in this whole film. I don't want to even spoil it, but we'll skip to the end for a moment. A whole farewell, and she just said, "I miss you most of all, Scarecrow." And I lost it at that. She really had that Dorothy energy about her. It worked so well. She just has so much charm, and I love her to bits. So,
bye deja vu. I'll never forget you.
And you just said deja vu. I guess we should move on to the Resistance. And I have to do this because I'm only going to get to do this once on the podcast. I'm going to name them all, and you're going to tell me who your favourite member of the Resistance was. You have Chevalier, Montage, Détente, Avant-Garde, and Deja Vu. And over there you have Poisson, Soufflé, Escargot, and Chocolate Mousse. Eat cigar. Who's your favourite? Jason, fire away.
Oh God, it's so hard to choose because they're all really cool people, characters. It had to be Chocolate Soufflé. I'm sorry.
Chocolate Soufflé.
Chocolate Soufflé.
I can't remember the name now. Was it Chocolate
Mousse?
Chocolate Mousse. Sorry, Soufflé. Where the fuck did I go with that one?
It sounds nice.
He just kind of kept reminding me of Cole. So shit with names. I'm so sorry.
Carl
what
Weathers?
am I doing on this bloody podcast anyway? Cole from the dude from Predator.
Carl Weathers.
Carl Weathers.
That's it. Thank you. He kept reminding me of Carl Weathers from Predator, but like a parody version of him, and quite weird considering this film came before Predator. Maybe they based that character off this character. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought it was quite cool. I like the way he ate his cigar at the beginning. So,
Just choose it.
Gives Nick the drink. What is this? Gasoline.
Oh, gasoline.
The drink noise.
There was one.
Shit. And the bit as well, deja vu as well. He says, "You've got to hand it to the Germans and make great cars." He's like, oh shit, so good, so good. Chris,
It's got to be deja vu. Just, I'm sorry, but just the name, and he's the only one in the Resistance that just says, "Have we met before?" I don't think so. And he looks away and he double takes. I was just like, that is a fabulous double joke, physically and script. It just lands beautifully. To find out that guy played a head of waiting staff in Downton Abbey just blows my mind.
oh my god,
Wow.
He
did.
Yeah, I didn't know.
I have to watch Downton Abbey now.
Now, I've not watched a single hour of Downton Abbey.
God.
I have no intention of doing it, but my niece was watching it one day, and I came in and I was just, you sit there, you think, I fucking know that. Who is that man? Who is that actor? I looked him up and scrolled down, Top Secret, and it clicked. I was like, fuck off. No. I could not believe it. Yeah, deja vu, the way the actor just plays it. I
mean, his whole sequence with Nick, there's like, Nick, life is filled with little miseries when the man has to deal with adversity in a mature and adult fashion. Ooh, just jumps out the window. I love that. So good. So out of the blue. Steve?
Well, I mean, it was deja vu. I mean, he's great. He's the closest this film comes to having a clown, as you alluded to earlier. But he's not so much a clown as he is like, I don't know. It's like he knows how bonkers it is around him, but he's just playing along. Like he's the closest to like a self-aware character in this film. But yeah, no, him. I don't know. I mean, or the cow. or the singing horse, which I forgot about. I forgot about until yesterday when I watched it again, and I lost my shit at that scene. That is so funny. The singing horse is so funny.
Yeah, that whole scene blows me away even now. Just singing, you think it's the coach driver singing, and it just cuts to this animatronic, this puppet horse just singing this opera or so, and then and then they get off, and then he coughs. He just goes, "This is going to be alright." He just goes, "It's just a little horse."
Yeah. That animatronic horse must have been so expensive, so difficult to make and operate.
Yeah,
and film.
It's just crazy. And yet they go to that level of making that horse look beautifully realistic for that scene, but then they deliberately make the cow costume look awful. It's just brilliant. And then they follow up with one of the best jokes that Austin Powers ripped off. Is this the potato farm?
Oh, yes. Yes, I'm Rupert Potato.
I'm Albert Potato.
Yeah. So, yeah, there are also some really good Nazis in this film. General Streck.
Fantastic.
General, yeah, where he's like, "What is the condition of Sergeant Kruger?
Oh, yeah.
Let me know if there's any change in his condition." Hangs up the phone. He's dead.
He's dead.
Brilliant.
Speaking of the Nazi scenes, I just want to give a shout out to the costume designer, costumer who fitted that lovely pigeon with a little satchel and a pair of goggles.
A pair of flight goggles, yeah.
Yeah, fair play to him.
Oh.
Fair play to
When
him.
they deja vu later on, he's a traitor in our midst, dude. I'm glad you dealt with him. It's like, no, you idiot. This is not the traitor.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. And then to our French listeners, but what the hell. So,
they discover who the traitor is. He gets the torch because he's got a load of pigeons in his handkerchief.
yeah.
They dress it up, don't they, that Nigel's this like ethereal character. He's so perfect, he's got white doves in his coat.
That's one of the jokes I kind of grew to appreciate more in later years. I did as a kid. I was just like, doves, what? And then it didn't mean much to me. kind of like at the time the Anal Intruder 3000.
Yeah.
I watched it as a kid and I was like, oh, it's like a fight. I thought it was something for fighting. I thought, oh, cool, it's a weapon.
Our surgeons did what they could, but it took them 2 hours to get the smile off his face.
It's only now that I thought, oh shit! Like I was watching it as a kid on VHS and I was just oblivious. I spoke to everyone, the consulate, the German ambassador, the UN. I just can't bring my wife to orgasm.
And it's just that faceless product placement in a film, isn't it? Like, well, have you tried this? And it flashes right in front of the camera as if it's a brand.
I just didn't know what to expect when he opened that box, and then he brought out what looked like a mnemonic drill, and then it had an actual fist on the end.
It's that really perfect nuclear American middle-aged couple in the box.
That's right. Do you know, it's weird as well because the film never gets that blue again. That's a pretty explicit scene, and it never does it again.
And that is not a small fist. I'm sorry.
That's very much the scale. So.
My eyes were watering just looking at that. So,
I'm going to backpedal back to the Resistance for a second. I'll have to say Deja Vu as well. He was fantastic. Pretty much what you guys say, really. I can't think of much more. He was the one. I guess there was the one class clown in this cast. I absolutely love him, and now I need to watch Downton Abbey. So there's a surprise.
That has genuinely blown my mind.
How silly can you get? Yeah. How silly can you get? Ooh, yeah. I never ever meant to stay. Wish you looked at me that way when I was young and blurry. Made me forget. How silly can you get? Yeah. How silly can you get? Ooh, yeah. I didn't mean it all the time. I don't know who to let the line. I only know she's in my arms. Oh, tonight. I woke next day on my own.
So yeah, we're going to get on now to your guys' favourite scenes, favourite moments. So Chris, I'm going to start with you.
Well, we discussed the French Resistance in a lot of ways. I think we've done that. But as for favourite scenes, it has to be the library scene. They're just hands down, technically, production-wise, everything. That scene in that library, filmed in reverse and played forwards, is an achievement in film. That shit should be studied in film classes of how to pull it off convincingly. It's just beautifully shot. Peter Cushing just hamming up to perfect, wearing a massive prosthetic eye through the whole thing.
True story as well. Apparently I read in some trivia that 2 years prior to the making of this film, due to, I think he had cancer, Peter Cushing, his left eye did actually swell by 3 times his normal size.
Wow.
So whether this was some kind of in-joke with him and some of the people in the production, I don't know. But yeah, even the same eye.
Or maybe it could have been a cover for it. They made a prosthetic cover his illness.
Potentially.
Maybe.
Potentially.
I remember watching that scene for the first time and I was just blown away. Because I remember Rich was sitting there and he was looking over at me, waiting for my reaction.
Like you do.
And I was just like, what is this witchcraft? This is it takes you a good few seconds to realise what's going on, and then it escalates and it gets more absurd the more you watch it. You start sucking the dust off the books, and then they go, and then he hands Nick Rivers a book, and he looks at it as if say, oh yeah, that's great, and then he puts his arm around the back, and it just floats up. And I was like, wow.
Yeah, and then at the end, they're just like, you can use this fire pole to get there,
yeah,
and they slide up the pole.
Yeah.
They stop giving a fuck about it. They're just like, no, we're going to go backwards up this pole.
And then
they don't even cut for the dog. The dog just runs through the set, and it's backwards, and it's just absurdly beautiful.
Steve?
Well, we've already talked about the underwater bar fight scene as a really good example of how this film just escalates and builds on top. But I think my favourite scene, although it's really very short, I think it just encapsulates this film really well. It is a perspective joke, which they do a lot of in this film. It's during the prison break scene. They cut a hole in the fence and they crawl under the fence. And then it's a shot that you've seen in other films before. Val Kilmer crawls, and he crawls up to a pair of boots that clearly belong to a Nazi, but you only see it from his perspective on the ground, so you just see the boots. He looks up, the camera pans upwards, and it's just a pair of boots. There's no one in them. so they're fine. And what I love about it is that Val Kilmer is not relieved until we've seen it's just a pair of boots.
Because he's looking up at it, isn't he? He's like,
because he's looking up at it, but he's not relieved until the camera shows it. So he thinks it's a full guy until we've seen it isn't. And I love it so much. It's so good.
There's so many great bits in that scene. But Jason, what's your favourite bit?
It was quite hard to come up. I don't know, when I watched the film and I thought back about it and thought, well, I need a couple of I need to think about it and choose a couple of really good scenes that'll be my favourite. And it was really hard to choose a specific scene from the film because it was all so good. But I think one of the scenes that stood out to me after I finished watching it was the ballet scene.
Just so much unpack from that.
Obviously, I didn't know what to expect coming into this scene. So obviously, it starts as a normal film would do with a ballet scene, I guess. And they cut to the main, to Val up on the balcony, and the old lady is sitting next to him with the binoculars, and we cut to what she's seeing, and then all the male dancers come on, and I was kind of with her. I personally did a double take as well, and I was like, hang on a minute, have they all got hold-ons? and then they cut back to him again and went, yes they do. And I was like, okay.
Bookshelves, Jason, of hard-ons. It's just like,
I know, right? They're massive, aren't they? But then it was like they're playing out the whole scene, and obviously Nick sees across to the theatre that Hillary getting attacked, and so he runs off to try and help her out. And then we keep cutting back to the ballet dancers, and they're the lady dancers are jumping out, jumping on each one, going across the row and doing all this. The male are carrying all the female dancers, but they're just carrying them in all just really stupid ways. And just I don't know, there was just so much going on that I could not stop laughing at everything that they were pulling at me in that scene. It was brilliant.
What I love about it is that when the ballet dancers are jumping on their dicks, it's not even done well. It looks terrible, but it's hilarious.
I was literally going to say right off the back of the ballet scene when they're on the run from the police and the prop room is the best thing ever.
Yeah. Or the bit where, to stop them from chasing them on the bicycles, he scares their bicycles away as though they were horses. Yeah! And they all gallop past.
It's the fact that the lights turn on and then they start to go. It's such a complex setup for such a silly gag. Just beautiful, absolutely stuff.
And when they're looking down out the window as well on the balcony, you can see the mice in the traffic. True story, that was actually a miniature from Richard Donner's Superman that the Zuckers found on the set on the backstage storage of Shepperton Studios. So you got put to good use. So yeah. Bit of Superman in there. So for you. Yeah, I love the ballet scene. But for my choice, I'm going to kind of go back a little bit to Steve's and the whole break into the actual castle /fort / base.
Yeah.
From everything with the boots to them even just walking on the leaves, and then Nick tells them to shush and they just turn the volume off completely, and they're just silently walking through dry leaves. I just love that.
That's right,
It's so slight, but it just worked.
They had another perception gag there as well, didn't they, with the watch?
Oh, the watch.
Oh, yeah.
And the fully blown miniature layout of the whole encampment.
Little
model railway and everything.
Yeah.
So good.
The thing about the watch gag, this film is with jokes like a horror film is. The reason this film is so funny is because it takes you by surprise with the jokes. It's like jump scares but for jokes. Why has that dude got a giant watch?
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Why did the guy who fell off the tower smash in ceramic on the ground?
It was so random, wasn't it? So random. It made no sense at all.
I was literally had to get to that. I adore that bit. Oh my god. Bloody hell. Yeah, and obviously the cow. Everything with the calf and when it's suckling on the mother's teeth. It's like, why was such a bloody hurry? Oh, and you just think Nigel was just enjoying it. Even then, you got the use of the Jaws theme when they're in the power shed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And the ball is just coming up on them. It's just so much good stuff in that. I love it so much.
And I love how later on, when Nigel is out of the suit and he kind of tries to walk, doesn't he? He's very sore. He's very sore.
He takes the rifle away from the tree. The tree just comes tumbling down.
Yeah.
It's just so
that's
much
what
weird
this film
shit.
is.
I'm
Yeah.
still processing the fact he's walking like that because he got done in by a cow, and then that. It's just. I love this film so much. I really,
film's
really
just
do.
throwing so much at you all the time that it's hard to keep up sometimes with
Yeah.
what's going to come next. All those kind of perspective kind of gags were really just spot on, and I think
The giant telephone.
The
I
giant
was
phone,
literally just about to say about that because it looks like, doesn't it? It just looks like a normal sized phone, and then obviously it's set for that scene for the general to be a bit further away from the phone. But then as
Feet up on the
obviously-
desk as well.
Yeah, the feet on the desk is the one that floors me to this day.
yeah.
Because it is done so perfectly that your brain doesn't register it's happening. Like the perspective shots, once they've done one, you expect it. But to do the feet on the desk where it's not in the foreground, it's literally on the desk, and he starts talking, throws a piece of paper down, and then he sits forward, and then you're like, whoa, hang on a minute, and he stands up, and the feet are still there.
and it's the one in Richard's favourite scene part where they're looking through the binoculars and they see all the cows, and then they cut to the binocular view like you normally see in a film with all the black border around the edge with the little circles, and then the cows just start jumping through the holes.
It's like that's what's so
brilliant.
great about it. Like this is strictly speaking, it is a parody of The Great Escape, World War II films, and Elvis films, right? But that doesn't really matter if you've seen films before. Like the giant telephone. Like you've seen that scene in a film before. So this scene is going to make you. It is going to surprise you. Like that's
Because
just the genius of it.
Because they're playing on your expectations, aren't they?
Absolutely, yeah.
They're playing on what you're expecting that scene to be because you've seen it before so many times in other films. So the last thing that you would be expecting is the things that they pull off in this film, which make it even better. It's like when they're on the train and they stop at the station, and then as the train's ready to depart, the train doesn't move, the fucking station moves.
That's right.
It's just like,
Yeah. It's a shot from a film that you've seen before, like they're pulling away from the station, except that the station is on fucking wheels and it's that's moving.
Yeah.
And then it was like a little bit later on, and then like someone's running after a tree that's trying to escape or something. Brilliant stuff.
There's one bit in that scene, actually, going back, I just remembered from my little bit of homework I did with the trivia, with the whole train station scene. One of the station announcements, which is obviously fully in German, someone actually translated it, and one of the announcements was, the train at platform 3 has surprised us all. Which I love that, because it actually works in the context of the scene. It's just like the absurdity of it. I love it. So.
When Nick gets his first taste of how oppressive it is in East Germany, and that guy's holding what is presumably an illicit package, and all of the German shepherds and the small terrier are like just barking at him, trying to get at what it is because they've sniffed out this stuff, and they take the guy away and shoot him, and it turns out the package is full of dog bistic.
Yeah.
Just
Shit.
And don't get me started on the German national anthem at the beginning.
God.
Yeah.
The electric fence doesn't get you first. So.
Yeah.
They bring out
The Germans.
volleyball team or whatever it was, wasn't it?
Sorry, Jason.
The German, was it the volleyball team or whatever it was?
The Olympic team. Yeah,
Literally just men dressed up as ladies, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But I just want one more thing I just want to say quickly, a mention on the film is near the beginning again, and they cut to a map on the screen of where they're going.
Yeah.
And obviously, again, as I'm saying, I'm first time viewer, and I'm going, oh, that looks a bit like a Pac-Man map, that does. And then lo and behold, about 20 seconds later, fucking Pac-Man comes up, and we have a whole little Pac-Man scene on it. And I was like, this is really cool, because like this must be a big thing at this time to get Pac-Man in this film like that. It must have been a massive thing.
Wasn't it? It was like having fucking God of War in a film. It's like cutting edge. So
yeah, brilliant. I just really appreciate that.
Yeah, there's so many little bits now I'm just thinking about. I'm ready to move on. I'm just like, no, so many little things in this film. I'm even thinking back to the shed, where they have the power, and even the sign that says Das Fenster switchen.
Yeah.
It takes me back to Airplane with put on the seatbelt.
Yeah.
It's just so good. And
And then
So
in Hot Shots, there's that guy who gets punched and he stumbles backwards into an alarm button and slides down, and the label on the alarm button is Khalam.
Alarm with an H, isn't it?
Khalam, yeah.
That's the thing. All the hallmarks of these guys' films are all peppered throughout films, but it's the way the gags are redone for the like. You mentioned earlier about the guy who took his crash helmet off and a chin strap. That's an echo of Robert Stack taking off his sunglasses in Airplane.
Oh God!
And he's got a smaller pair underneath his aviators. It just works. Just works so well.
I really, even just like in the little scene between Nick and Hillary where they cuddle and then they just crush his guitar. It's
another joke jump scare. You just weren't expecting that to happen.
Nope.
So many good things. I mean, even the thing as well with like when Hillary's on a motorbike and she sees Nick's okay and her bosoms go they just glow. It's like, the fuck is this? I just watched that the other day and I was like, I forgot about that little sight gag. I was like, what's happening in this film? Like, I'm still processing her hair's all like windswept and like almost like Bride of Frankenstein style, and now her bosoms are glowing like just amber.
When they ride together on the motorcycle to get to the plane, and she jumps off and just pushes the motorcycle to one side, and Nick just gets pushed to the ground and just goes, "Whoa!"
Yeah,
and he's gone from the film. That's it. He's done. He's gone.
But there was a couple of other scenes as well that made me really laugh. And the first was when they get back to the French Resistance, and then Hillary sees Nick first time since the desert island days. And like she's like measuring his biceps, and then she's like she disappears for like a few seconds, then she just comes up from below the camera with a 10-inch measurement, obviously. I'm sure it was quite funny. And the other thing I quite liked, the scene, was when they parachuted out of the plane.
Oh God!
And then,
yeah.
And then they're
the whole domestic in the parachutes.
Yeah, but
turns around. Oh, sorry,
like,
Jason. You're trying to tell this scene.
They're coming down. And then, like, Nick kind of goes past Hillary, and then Hillary goes, "Oh, Nick," and then he kind of stops, and then goes back up a bit, and goes,
Yes.
You know, as you would in a conversation, or or if someone had called you over, and just that little movement and generosity was just brilliant.
And then they start to have a love scene, and the camera pans to the right, and it pans to a fireplace that is parachuting.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Each night I'm all alone, my heart's an empty home. To see you standing there would be my only prayer. If you could ever know how much I need you so, come make my dreams come true. I'll give my love to you, baby, please. Baby, please, baby, please. Spend this night with me.
We can skip to the ending a little bit, and I know we've covered a lot of it. When they
what ending? There's no ending. This film just stops.
It just
Oh, I forgot about Dr. Flamond. Oh God, was it just another day and I would have finished my tunnel?
Oh God,
the fucking New Jersey tunnel. It's like
nice work.
Lights.
Nice work.
Yeah, fucking teaspoon. Just like, oh shit. Sorry. Michael Goff is like an actual treasure in this. I even think now back to when Nick meets him in the prison. He talks about the what was it? He was
water desalinization.
Yeah. Can you imagine what this would mean for the world's starving carnations? Well, they don't have enough salt to last forever.
Yeah.
Even as a kid, I got that, and I thought that's fucking smart. I was dying. And just how kind of aloof and a bit thick Nick
Let's
is.
not forget about the sub coming through the wall.
The fucking guy comes out the house.
The guy's So, listener, you could just take the MP3 of this podcast and chop it up and just recreate the film based on our memories of it.
Incidentally, speaking of this film, has any of you guys seen The Blue Lagoon?
A long time ago.
No.
Just the way this... I can't remember when and why and how I ended up watching The Blue Lagoon. Maybe it was on TV one day. It's a little bit controversial in its themes and ideas, but the way this lampoons that film is so accurate, and it ends up being better than The Blue Lagoon. Just all.
That's not a good thing.
It's just that the fact that Nigel's this perfect, pure specimen of a human being. Curly blonde hair, blue eyes, 6 foot,
Hillary.
6 foot odd, built like fucking. And the Blue Lagoon plays very much the same, except just without the Walmart built with bamboo and fruit, and the house with the remote garage opener. And if you look in the garage, there's a tumble dryer, there's a bike, there's like random garage junk made out of wood.
It's just like Nigel's still dressed the same as well. Like
Yeah,
never
the whole
released,
film.
He's just
Yeah,
the
just
same.
dressed in this
After all
little
those years.
butt flap, and he's just like, and you only see him wearing a uniform at the end, and you're just like, what? But just a shout out to, I mentioned it in the chat, like the fact they got Peter Lamont to be the production designer, it shows. It just looks so beautifully designed. Like, oh, just God, that guy just is amazing. For those who don't know, he's done quite a few James Bond movies as the production designer. But
Amazing.
the way the sets are designed and built and constructed in that deliberate, almost cavernous way that makes it look even more epic. That whole working with false perspective and camera angles to make it appear 4 times the size it actually is. That was just stunning. But that house on the island just blows me away every time.
Yeah, no, it's generally impressive, like really impressive. That actually caught me off guard. Like, I'm so familiar with that scene, but watching it again for the first time in a few years the other day, and it just was like, wow.
But
okay, that's actually like some serious shit. Like,
yeah.
That's some serious shit.
And it wasn't even like a miniature and them shot on green screen or blue screen. It was literally a full-scale prop built on location, whatever beach they were filming on.
A stupid gag.
Just for like 2 seconds of screen time. That must have been months of planning and building.
They just
Just to
throw
sell
it
a gag.
away.
Yeah,
they just throw it away. He presses the button, the little box made of wood and leaves, and the garage door opens, and then we're done. They just throw it away. It's great.
In the bit as well when like he's saying to Hillary about when he got off the island and he was picked up by a passing ship, and how like I cried and I yelled, and it just seemed to excite them more, and he did things to me. Oh, Nigel must have been awful. Just that face,
and he
like,
just
nodding.
looks away.
He's like, it just goes back to the whole cow scene again. It's just like, oh my god, no, this is a dark character, and I really love it. I think it hits more when you grow up as well. Like, again, you're watching it as a kid, and it was kind of like, huh, yeah, whatever. And then now I'm like, Jesus, like, it's just so dark. But yeah, no, Nigel's fantastic. But yeah, we get to the end, and they stage the rescue of Dr. Flamond and Nigel and Duquois. They obviously don the fake cow suit, which is amazing. You know, just looks resplendent in Wellington boots and perfectly circular patches.
So, my girlfriend fucking loved the cow. Like, that's the point. That's the point where I think she decided that this was one of her favourite films now. Because she was like dissecting it to me. She was like, all they've done is put wellies on a real cow and paint circles on it.
Yeah.
She's like, this is genius. She's genius.
It's the fact that the close-ups done in proper like puppet style with the real hands.
Yeah.
And then you're watching it, and then the hand moves, and they've obviously got someone or something behind the cow's head, and it drags on the cigarette. And exhales. It's like
and
such a natural, normal thing that everyone in these films do, but it's a cow doing it.
And then when he's using the stethoscope to crack the safe, the stethoscope goes in the cow's ears.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But that's the funniest thing. Then it cuts to them when they're getting out of the costume, and it's this cheapest, nastiest rubber costume, but it sells the joke even more.
They found a very good trained cow, by the way.
It was actually, yeah.
And true story as well, apparently cows are known for not liking things put on their feet, so for the making of it they actually cut the bottoms off the wellies and then velcroed the wellies to the cow's legs.
No way.
Amazing.
Which is, I don't
Brilliant.
know.
I did wonder that, because you could see the hooves occasionally through the bottom boots.
Yeah.
I'd only noticed that the other day when I watched it.
It's still the scene for me as well, and I still love it, because it's like really a hard editing cut, but when they're actually in the pack being herded along and then they kind of fall back, and then there's that hard cut to it running in the other direction around the sides of the castle. They just break away from the herd. I love how crude that shot is. It just works so well. It's like, now, let's go. I love that cow. Even made it to the poster and the art. It's iconic. So yeah, we obviously get into the underwater bar fight. We have, well, prior to that, we have the not at all obvious Great Escape parody. Meep, meep. And just, I love it. Nick and Nigel fighting over the radio in the truck.
Oh, yeah. Again, it's a proper like war movie Indiana Jones throwback where he's just punching through the car door, and then it just cuts to such a childish thing when it's just changing the radio settings.
Ultimately, Nick defeats Nigel underwater in a bar with cowboys, and Hillary's reunited with her father, and she decides she wants to stay back and work to make a better Germany. And actually, ultimately, in the end, she decides she wants to go to America with Nick, and her father's going to come with them as well for some reason, which I found was quite touching in a way. So I won't lie. Yeah, they say their goodbyes to the Resistance. They board the plane, and yeah, it's just a lovely ending to this film. So perfect. I mean, what can I say? I adore this film so much. It has a lovely, very, very happy ending. Or what more can I say? I mean, what do you guys think of the ending? How it wraps things up?
They wrap it up in 2 seconds. Like they literally they run out of jokes. They're done with the film. They do the scarecrow joke. The plane flies off. The end.
Yeah,
but it's fine because even that's funny. The film's just like, we're done now. Bye.
I still like
Here's the credits.
Chocolate Mousse in that as well, but they were playing darts on the side of the plane as well. It's like a silly little side gag, but yeah.
Yeah, I can't say much more than what others have said. Really, like it does the job really, and I'm quite grateful that it ended the way that it did, just because I couldn't take much more anyway.
Much more. It's like a glowing endorsement.
It is a glowing endorsement, I guess. I just spent the last hour and a half just laughing my arse off constantly, and so I needed a break. So,
and actually 90 minutes as well. It's perfect. So much it packed in for an actual reasonable runtime, regardless of genre. It's very welcome in this day and age.
Yeah, I mean they wrap it up nicely. They wrap it up in a way that's welcoming, I guess. Like everyone finishes happy. There's no character that dies. It's not going to come back. Nick and Hillary are together. They're all off to make a new happy life together. So yeah, it was the perfect way to end the film. And they still, like Steve mentioned, still managed to squeeze just a couple more jokes in just before the end came up with the darts and the scarecrow, which was a bit random. I was expecting to see the Tin Man and the Lion as well.
That might have been pushing it.
Yeah, that would have been absurd now, Jason.
I know, right?
And even the credits themselves as well, they're hilarious. There's actually there's a spot in the credits that just says "This space for rent," and it's just a blank screen for a few seconds.
I love the Zucker's spoof credits. They throw in recipes in there and live
recipe
quotes
for brownies and stuff.
That was the Hot Shots, wasn't it? Recipes for brownies.
It was, yeah. An actual legitimate recipe. Yeah, go on, Chris. So, what's your thoughts on how
I love it. I think it's just so quick fire, like we said earlier, that you're struggling to keep up because the jokes are so fast and so quick. It's like you said at the top of the show, watching a really quick sketch comedy with all these gags that shouldn't work, but it does work, and it just doesn't. It's just mad. It's just a mad clusterfuck of a movie, but it just works. Sometimes they're the best. There's only a few jokes where they linger, but they linger for awkward silence, like self-awareness.
I can't really say if I can think of a gag in this film that feels like it didn't hit, like it was just flat.
I thought you were going to say you can't think of a joke that lingers.
It was the bad movie joke.
That
was deliberate, wasn't it?
Yes.
Just stare at the camera and it's awkward, elongated silence. But
there's also the one where they have to make the quick phone call to cancel his execution, and the person answering the phone is an old lady with a Zimmer frame walking very slowly as the phone rings.
Apparently there's actually there's another cut of that, a longer cut, where she's going to the podium and then the phone stops ringing and she starts to head back. And then it starts ringing again, so she has to turn when the guards are about to resume firing their rifles.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I was like, nah, I'm glad we didn't get that, because that's almost like kind of Family Guy now. It's like, yeah, we get it.
Yeah.
No, please, you're outstaying, you're welcome. So really, yeah, I think your verdicts and your scores, I mean, I think we're all going to be pretty favourable with this. I think it's a bit of a banger. Go on, Chris, I'm going to ask you first. What's your overall summary of this film, and what would you give it out of a nice point score out of 10?
Easily a 9.5 to 10 for me. I grew up loving Hot Shots and Airplane, and then to discover, like 20 odd years ago I think now, to discover a film that I hadn't watched fully of theirs for the first time as just approaching like 17 or whatever, 18, I was just like, wow, it just blew me away, because I appreciate Hot Shots for what it did for Rambo and Commando, but this one it's got every bank holiday movie rolled into a 1 hour 30-minute runtime, and you know exactly what films they're picking up on and referencing, and just it's easily the top there with their films.
I don't think it gets celebrated enough. I think it's lost in the conversation with your airplanes and your Naked Guns, and I think it adds to the film's appeal and its charm. Not to be a hipster, but yeah, I do think it's my favourite because it's kind of overlooked.
Chris, you said a 9.5 to 10, but that's not really going to help with our scoring system. So we need 9.5, 0.6, 7, 8, 9?
Round it up to 10. Sorry, it's going to get full marks for me.
Wow. Full marks straight away. Wow.
Because when I watched it the other day, for an hour and a half, I just didn't stop smirking or laughing. And some of the gags were proper full-on laughter where I felt my eyes hurting. And it's very rare that I see a film that does that to me, but every time I watch this film, it gives my reaction.
Steve?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like I find it quite difficult to give this film, but I feel like it defies any kind of scoring. I think this film does not give a fuck what score anyone has for it. But, you know, we have a scoring system, so I must. I think it's my favourite Zucker film as well. I also kind of like that it bombed. I do wish that it was remembered more fondly and that it was talked about some more. But yeah, it's fantastic. And I guess 10. I guess 10 out of 10, right? That's a ridiculous thing to say, but that's in keeping with the spirit of the film, I think. Maybe if you asked me tomorrow, I'd have a different opinion. You know, things change. People change. Hairstyles change. Interest rates fluctuate.
Yeah. Smooth. That was smooth. I respect that. I didn't even see that coming. Wow, fantastic. Must have had that written down. Jason, what's your verdict and your score?
Well, coming into the film, as we know, fresh-eyed and not expecting what I'm going to see, and in the year of 2023, watching a nearly 40-year-old film, it was bloody brilliant, and it deserves more love and attention than it probably gets these days. And I'm glad that we're doing this not just for ourselves to have a good chat about and a laugh, but hopefully for some other people who are listening. I know we probably just spoil it all for them if they haven't seen it, but to go back and watch it again, or just, you know, hopefully we've reminded them of this film's existence, and for them to go back and watch it again and just have another 19 minutes of just joyfulness. But for me, it's a film that I will always like and love now, because
I love that so much. Chris, our work is done.
Yes.
Yeah, you can die happy, I guess, knowing that you've achieved a goal, just because of everything that we've said in it, you know, and just like, and it's nice because it's a film where the 99.9% of the gags hit as well. Mm-hmm. It's not even like 80% of them hit, and then there's like a few in there that are like, that didn't really quite work, or why did they do that, or make you start questioning what they're trying to do. It didn't really happen in this film, and you get a lot of spoof films these days, like Scary Movie, for example.
Oh god!
You know, and you know that they're just spoofing off film after film after film. They're just
references. Hey, look, it's Iron Man. It's like, okay,
yeah, and
it's just like Ready Player One, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
just a shopping list of references. Oh god.
Exactly, and I guess that's what spoof films have become now, more so. Can't really remember what more recent one where they've done the hard work by actually just creating their own gags instead of just taking a famous or well-known part of a film and then just turned a few parts of that scene into a different, you know, into a funnier scene.
Yeah.
Whereas these guys have gone and created, and I know obviously they are referenced off of a couple of movie references and obviously the genres itself, but that makes it more special because they've actually sat down and created their own gags.
Yeah.
and their own scenes to fit these gags into and created their own characters, and that just makes the film extra special as a spoof film, that they've gone to all this extra work. And everything else that we've said as well, like the craziness of, like, you know, they did the underwater scene, they did all this cow suits and the horse singing thing, and you know they've gone and they've like written their own songs as well for Nick to sing. And some of them not too bad actually.
I mean, we didn't even talk about the songs. I mean, it opens with a banger as well. But yeah,
It does, yeah.
Skeet surfing.
Yeah.
Oh, what an opening to that film.
The 12. Is it one of the lines to get yourself within your 12 gauge or something like that? No.
I wish they all could be double-barreled guns.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, that was all crazy, wasn't it? Like they're all on their surfboards just shooting.
It's just a plane at the
Shooting their
sky.
guns.
Just
Yeah.
like stock footage of
Yeah.
the plane going in. Oh, man,
And then
fantastic.
you see a glimpse of what the top 3 hits in the music charts are, and they're all his songs, and they're all about skeet shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, ladies and gentlemen, we're trying to wrap up the podcast, and yet there's still more gags to mention. in the
Again,
film.
that was
Losing
another
control of the
gag,
show.
wasn't it? Where it's like at one of the billboards outside one of the gigs. And it says like Nick Rivers at the top, and then someone moderately famous. And then at the bottom, with time permitting, Frank Sinatra. Like, wow. Like, wow. Like, I don't know, it's famous singers in the world. Time permitting, Frank Sinatra.
So good. And then the crowd as well, the girls, and it's just a sign that says Welcome Nick.
Yeah.
Just written in German. Just with an accent. It's
Oh god, now you just reminded me of like when he's on that stage and then he starts moving and with his microphone, and the microphone pole's just getting longer and longer and longer.
Yeah.
It's moving.
the whole James Brown thing as well, when he's like trying to like kill himself and he's tying himself to the train tracks, putting his head in an oven. It's just like the heck is going on. Oh shit, so good.
But yeah,
so good.
so all this extra work and effort that they've put in really shines through into the film and just makes it just that extra special movie. So I'm not going to go as far as Steve and Chris with a 10, but I will go to a 9.6.
For me, I'm going to follow Chris and Steve. I'm just going to give it a big fat 10 because I love this film growing up. I think the spoof genre, whether it was Airplane, whether it was Naked Gun trilogy, was such an important thing for me in my diet of movies, whether it was just what I was watching off tape, off TV. I absolutely love the genre, and I feel like this is a film I probably watched through my dad's VHS collection. He just had it, and he always watched it, always referenced it. Yeah, it's an actual pivotal film for me. One of those like top 5 films, I think, where I really just watched the shit out of it. Whatever night, whatever year it was, it just randomly aired on terrestrial TV and was taped. Yeah, that was it for me. That was just an important part, and it shaped a lot of my sense of humour. And it's amazing how much now I look back and the actual gags in it that really not only land with me now, but I recall they hit just right for me as a kid. So clearly, yeah, my sense of humour even then was quite switched on, and I was smart to a lot of the stuff that I was seeing. So to the film's credit, because it's easy to laugh at the really obvious broad gags, but there was just so much good stuff in there, and it has not lost its appeal. It hasn't lost its power to make me laugh, and I just adore this film. And yeah, I adore a lot of spoofs, but this one is like the gold standard for me. I love Val Kilmer in this. I love everyone in this. I absolutely adore this film, and yeah, I'll definitely give it a big fat 10. So I think it's pretty much all full marks, apart from Jason. Damn you, Jason.
Well, I'm
we were
quite
so close.
I know, I'm quite glad in some way, because like if we started the first episode with 40 out
You
of
almost
40
got the
film,
perfect
you know?
Famitsu score of 40.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, this is going to go on our. We still haven't named our board, have we?
We have not, no.
I think the last one I mentioned was like, well, in my head was like the board from above. We will coo it down like shooting stars.
This is a play on like the crow from below or the dove from above. I like it.
So Top Secret is at the top of our board. So onto the board it goes.
Wow.
Nice.
Nice
Did not see that
soundboard.
coming. Fantastic. Where's Les Dennis? Shit.
Did you like that?
That was very good. Yeah,
That
I'm
was,
impressed.
caught me off guard. damn, I felt like a listener.
For a minute, I was just like, someone's phone on loud. Like, oh no, it's actual.
Yeah. That wasn't done in post. That was a real live effect.
It was. It was again.
I'm bored of it now. You've ruined it. So.
Oh, sorry. I won't do it again then. Oh, sorry. Finger slipped.
Well, get out on that floor and hit that rug tonight. Well, get out on that floor and hit that rug tonight. We're gonna shake that rug till the early, early light. I say to romp and stomp and slide like the devil on the thread. Yeah. I say to romp and stomp and slide like the devil on the thread. Well, stand back, baby. I believe I'm gonna free my edge. You gotta straighten the rug. Yeah, straighten the rug. You gotta give it a push. Yeah, give it a shove. Well, rug cutting, honey, now, baby. Give it a tug.
Yeah, I think that's it for this episode. I survived a presenting gig. Go
And
me.
you did it very well, Rich.
And
Well
it
done,
wasn't,
Rich. Yes.
It wasn't what I feared. I thought it was going to be a difficult start to a difficult second season. So, hey, there you go. So, marvellous.
Any unknown trivia that we might not know about the film, Rich?
I thought I dotted some trivia out for this episode. I can't think of anything else that I didn't cover.
I read that the mold that they used for Peter Cushing's massive eye went on to become the basis for recreating Moff Tarkin in Rogue One.
Really?
Oh my god, I remember about that.
Yeah.
I didn't hear about that.
Really?
That makes
So
total
fucked,
sense,
man.
actually.
Apparently, yeah.
Wow.
I'd love to think that Moff Tarkin in Rogue One had just a massive left eye. And that was everyone's issue with it, not the Uncanny Valley. It's like, what was with the massive eye?
Can we see this genre of film returning at some point? I mean, up until recently, they were still making things like epic movie and scary movie and stuff. But
I think those films killed it off. I tried watching Scary Movie at a house party back in the early 2000s, and I was just like, this is awful. Like, I'm sitting there at a house party and I'm drinking, and all the people around me are laughing. I'm like, this isn't funny.
So sad.
Because I, like you guys, grew up with Hot Shots, with Airplane, with real good spoof movies, and in comes a Scary Movie. Yeah, Naked Gun, and
Dracula Dead and Loving It.
And even Loaded Weapon 1.
Oh,
Loaded Weapon 1.
Weapon.
That needs to get some love because it's very much maligned. But I grew up watching that and I loved it. It's, again, so clever. And then it got progressively worse when people started to rip off Scary Movie, which was ripping off the good spoof movies. And it all just became shit.
I think there's space. I think there's space for it to happen again. I think there's a chance that these can come back. The Weird Al biopic was sort of cut from the same cloth as this.
I've not seen that yet.
It's real good, and it's not exactly the same as a Zucker film, but it's near enough. It's sort of adjacent, and I mean
the stuff with Madonna in it is just
yeah, absolutely, wow. Yeah. So I think that it should come back. Someone should do it again.
I heard rumblings of them looking at doing a new Naked Gun with Liam Neeson, which I actually kind of would be down with that casting. I'm not going to lie.
I did. I think you shared that, didn't you, Rich? You just sent the link, and
Liam Neeson, I'm like, you know what? That kind of makes sense.
It does, actually.
Because, very much straight man.
Not just because the names kind of sound similar if you slur it.
Think about that, to be fair.
Have you all watched Police Squad?
Yes.
I actually watched it again the other day. So
Me and Rich have a lovely love affair with Police Squad, and it's just
so good.
Who are you? How did you get in here? I'm a locksmith, and I'm a locksmith.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Just like,
it's so good. Oh,
so I mean, that's sort of the nucleus of all these films. That's where it started. That was Leslie Nielsen.
Definitely.
The TV series bombed. No one watched it. It got cancelled. But then, thank God, they went on to make films like this.
To all the recent spoof films and parody films, it's a big fat.
Well, you're getting carried away now. You're being a game show nonce. Stop it. So.
A game show nonce.
I'm sure I've got a catchphrase all around here somewhere.
Is this what we're in store for with season 2 now? Is you with the soundboard? It's like the most like middle-aged man thing ever.
We're gonna
we're
pivot to soundboards. Yeah.
I was gonna.
Rich.
You beat me to it, Rich. I was gonna say this is the most 2001 internet thing I've ever heard.
I liked
a
it, Jason.
soundboard.
Thank you.
I liked it, Jason.
Thank you. I mean, I am 45 this year. I am
Wow.
middle-aged, so fuck you. Thank you very much.
Kids just rolling their eyes as you play with your soundboard.
Fuck them. I
They
don't
don't
care.
know
I'm
what
hip.
that sound effect's from. Kids don't know what that's about.
Did you just make an old man joke? Look, kids, look what I figured out. You can copy and. Yes, Dad. Yes.
It's called
We've gone
drag
off the
and
rails,
drop.
Rich.
You got
Drag
any,
and drop.
Strike It Lucky sound effects on it.
I was looking at
Oh,
them
no.
earlier, but I was like, I don't know.
Oh, I'm going to put this one to bed now because I'm worried where it's going to go. So, yeah, it's been fun, lads. That's all time we have for this week. Massive thank you, as always, for everyone listening and joining us. If you would like to donate to the show, then please visit our Ko-fi page where you can show your support, starting from just a single solitary £1. You can find a link in the show description or on our website. Speaking of the website, please give it a visit. It looks nice and shiny and new. I go with our new logo. We have articles, game reviews, mostly written by Jason. All written by Jason.
This one written by
our
you.
entire back catalogue of episodes and more at thewolfiepod.com. So guys, it's been marvellous. My name has been Rich and you've been listening to What's Wrong with Wolfie, a retro podcast to the max. Goodbye.
Hey Janelle, what's wrong with Wolfie? I can hear him barking.